Good morning, Year 5. It's Tuesday the 2nd of February and this is your next English lesson. It's Mr. Turnbull here and our learning objective today is to identify descriptive language to use for creative writing. So this week our task is going to be this one. We're going to be creating a different style of creative writing. Can anyone remember what this is called? I'll just give you a second to think. Okay, so this is acrostic writing. Now, me and Miss Slater know that you've been working really hard over the last few weeks and we've actually asked you to do quite a lot of writing. So this is going to be a little bit less writing. However, we're still going to have to think really hard and creatively about how we're going to create our own piece of writing. So we're going to have a look at this example, and this is a basis for what we're going to have a look at writing for our own individual piece later in the week. Far above our heads, canopies of green leaves grow, or drop to the ground, turning round and round. Row upon row of trees stand silently. Erupting from the ground, shoots of new life spring up, fighting for light with the trees around them. At this point, I'd just like you to pause the video. Is there anything you noticed about this acrostic writing that we haven't noticed in the acrostic writing we've done before? What was different about it? Is there anything different to normal writing? Pause the video, maybe jot down your ideas or talk to the person next to you if you're in school. What was interesting about this? So the thing I first saw that was the same as other acrostic writing was that we have obviously the word forest down the side, and this makes up the subject that the author's writing about. The first difference that I really noted was the layout of the piece of writing. If you look, on most acrostic poems or writing, there's a full stop at the end of each line to end the sentence, but it doesn't work in this case, does it? You can see that the second line is actually a conjunction in the middle of a sentence. The next one, the sentence ends after round. So the first line, the first word on the next line is actually the end of the sentence. So that's really different, isn't it? Now we're going to come on to today's learning. This is obviously what we're going to try and complete by the end of the week. So the next thing that I noticed is the authors really used senses to describe some of the forest and to bring it to life, and that's really what we're going to focus on in this lesson. So what do we mean by the senses? This is what a lot of writers use to plan out their work, especially when writing descriptively, and this means that we get all the different areas that we can describe in one piece of writing. So the first one, the eyes, what can the writer see? What's he writing about? What's he looking at? The ears, so what sounds could you hear? And I think if you're thinking about a forest, you could hear lots of different sounds, couldn't you? Nose, what would the smells be? Is there fresh plants growing like the ones in our garden in school? What could you taste on your tongue? And the last one, there's quite a funny photo. It's a man with a bare bottom, so touch, pressure, temperature, what you can feel on your skin. Maybe in the forest, it might be a thorn getting stuck in your bottom. So which senses have been used in this piece of writing then? Well, the author's trying to give us a really visual picture of what's going on. So it's a lot of what the author can see that lets us know what the forest is like. But there's also a little bit of hearing in there as well as this. So far above our heads, canopies of green leaves grow or drop to the ground, turning round and round and round. So it's telling you that the trees are far above your heads. It's really tall. On the next bit, rows upon trees stand silently. So it's telling you that the forest is really quiet. How would that make you feel if it was really quiet on this part here? There could be different emotions there, couldn't there? Erupting from the ground, shoots of new life spring up, fighting for light with the trees around them. So it's telling you that the canopy is really covering a lot of the sunlight. All of the different plants on the ground are growing outward and really fighting for the light. Does that give you a visual picture in your head of what the forest could look like? So this lesson, we're going to just start writing down some ideas for what our acrostic writing could be about. Now, I don't want you to worry about putting it into an acrostic layout yet. We're just going to think of the words that we're going to use to describe, and we're going to use the senses to do that. So here's some examples that I've came up with. If you'd like to choose some different ones, that's absolutely fine. But I thought we'd do ones that were topical at the moment. So I was thinking about homeschooling, the plague, because we're doing that in history, weather, we've just had some snow and that was quite fun, playing out in the snow I'd imagine, making snowmen and different things like that, sledging, the view from your window. We've got some beautiful views where we're at in Stanley, especially from our classroom window. We've got the rolling hills, lovely green colours, and even nicer in the winter when there's snow on them. Friends, like being reunited with friends at school, or seeing friends socially distanced outside, and then some food, some chocolate and fruit. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to start off an example, and we all know I'm a little bit of a history buff, so let's have a start with the plague, and I'll give you an example of what I'm looking for in this lesson. So I'm happy for you to lay out your census map in whichever format you would like. If you're at home, you could draw your own census map with images to go with these adjectives and descriptive language, and you could upload a screenshot. If you're in school, you could do the same, or you could work on a laptop and do a presentation on there, same as with people at home. So here's some examples that I have. And the plague is a little bit sort of gruesome, and some of your other ones could be a lot nicer, but this is the subject I like. So, what could I see? Gruesome boils, rat-infested streets, scattered waste, heroic knights on horseback, pus and pustules, parasites, poison and pestilence, trepanning, lumps and leeches. Quite disgusting. And what could I smell? Open sewers, urine, rats, unwashed flagellants, raw meat, saturated dirt and soil. Now, the more effective your language is when we plan like this and we come up with our census map, the better your writing is going to be later in the week. So referring back to the start of our lesson, our learning objective was to identify descriptive language to use for creative writing. Now I've given you a few ideas. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of your ideas uploaded onto Teams, and I'm sure Miss Slater will give me some great feedback from school. I'd love for you to have a look at some different ideas for census maps online. I've screenshotted a few here that you can see. You can be as creative as you want with it. Hope you have fun. Good luck. See you next time.